why failing fast is not good enough. A provocative statement and purposefully so. Don't get me wrong at all. I am a big fan of failures. Some of the projects and the teams that I've worked with before, I think we've celebrated failure, learned so much from having failing fast and applying those learning backs to actually taking more impactful products to users. However, when we reflect and we really analyze those in a little bit of depth, there is almost another dimension and a different layer, which I feel needs to be managed and understood about failures. What I want to take you through is how we uncovered some of those. When we really went back and started to reflect as a group, as a team, on how the last few quarters, last year has gone by, what have we released as successes and failures, it really hit us. And I tried to condense these into 3 points that really we took away from all those analysis that we did. The first was that while projects were going on, successes were happening, failures were happening, the broad sense of are we getting smarter just not seem to be there. And that was reflected in the fact that we were not talking about learnings as much as we would have liked to. The second, when we really try to do this high level analysis of, having different kinds of failures in terms of size, nature, team, and really lay them out over a timeline, the frequency of the failures, what it was now and what was a few quarters back, broadly was remaining the same. So we were not really improving on that front either. And the third one, to our surprise, we actually had no objective view on what this was costing us. How many were we pumping in into these failures, and what was the net ROI that we were being able to generate? Were we really contributing back to business and consumer value towards the end? Armed with these three insights, what we actually decided to do is, take sort of a different path this time around. Pick up a team, pick up a project, and try something differently with the perspective of optimizing our failures from what we've learned from this reflection and retrospective. And what I'm going to do next is take you through the story of how we implemented some of these learnings on the ground, what we did, what worked, and really condense them into 3 points that you can take away as practical applications for yourself. So before I get into the story itself, let me set this up well. This is the organization I work for, OLX Autos. Essentially, what we're trying to create is a differentiated used car and buying and selling experience for users. Very simply put, a person who wants to sell his car comes to us, sells the car, we refurbish, shine it up, and then sell it back to the buyer. Simplified view, it's a C2B2C model. What our platform also allows is for people who are interested in generally selling cars to end consumers themselves. We also facilitate that, not just in helping buyers and sellers connect, but also providing a lot of services on the ground to make sure that the transaction can be much more seamless and a better consumer experience. Yeah, so this is the setting. This is a key component that happens currently in a used car process, inspection. I'm sure most of us are quite familiar with what happens in a car inspection. It's a fairly technical product that we're trying to sell buyer right now, and also something that is used to really understand what the objective condition of this and arrive at an accurate price. This process is super important to this journey. Although a lot of advances has happened in this area over the years, but it's still quite manual. You still need a guy who's fairly an expert, can go through this checklist of sorts, look at both digital and physical data, and really make a judgment call. But what's happening? Things are changing as well. What's really happening across the board, and a lot of companies and people are trying this out, we're really trying to change this process in itself. We're almost trying to say, hey, can we solve this better through technology? Not just making it a better consumer experience, but also making it much more sustainable and scalable. So picture you as a consumer almost doing this entire process by walking around your car just with your phone. Can we make that happen? So that was the hypothesis or the problem that we were trying to solve in um, the area that we took up to apply these new learnings that we had come across with respect to failures. And let's dig into what we learned. So the first one really was that by nature, we as product technology design folks, we're in a rush to build. We want to take new solutions to consumers very fast. What happens a lot of the time because of that is we don't end up spending enough time in really defining what we are solving for first. Let me quote Theodore Levitt here. So he's a professor from Harvard. He quotes in the context of people wanting to buy quarter-inch drills. People are not actually looking for quarter-inch drills. They're looking for quarter-inch holes. So it's really the core need that we're going after. I'd argue, let's extend that further. It's actually not the quarter inch hole. They're actually looking for the painting on the wall. Take it a step further. They're actually looking for the aesthetics it brings along to the room, or the feeling when I get when I wake up to that painting. So if we continue to do this exercise of keep going, we're trying to figure out the real core user need that we're trying to solve for and really deliver an impactful solution.